Honorable ex-Prime Minister of India Mr. C. Devagowda releasing the author's first book Taoist Direction for Design and Development during 2014. Design for Manufacturability. Taoist Direction for Design and Development. DFM Handbook for Design Engineering Professionals. Knowledge makes everything simpler. DFM Solutions by Redesign Buyer. Ramalingam DFM an innovation consultant. Taoist DFM, what it is and why it is needed now. Tao of DFM is a helping hand to bridge the gap between design and manufacturability. The author lists more than 800 brief rules and guidelines on covering all criteria and systems under this first home of MFD. Each and every operation to manufacturing design the product at best lower cost to manufacturability with quality, service, and reliability. By following the rules and guidelines, CAD engineers to climb up the ladder to become an ideal practical designer. 80% of the cost is determined while releasing the drawing from PD. By the time the product goes to production, 95% of its cost is determined. So it will be very difficult to remove cost later stage. In short, 60% of a product's cumulative lifetime cost is committed by the concept architecture phase. This is why it is important to fully optimize this phase. And in practice, most of our engineering product or equipment are only re-engineering or reverse engineering approved product. A small percentage only are 100% new and original thoughts. More on the book of Taoist Design for Manufacturability. 8 criterions and 8 systems built on the basic foundations provided by Dr. Anderson on DFM, our mentor. Manufacturability Function Deployment MFD by A.R. Ramalingam, the practice tool for TDFM, the paradigm shift from conventional DFM. Concurrent engineering team with participation of domain experts from Yang and Yin. Developing the perfect operation process sheet cum quality plan by merging process division with design division. QMS head as the group captain under Tao of DFM with additional captains from design and manufacturing. World's most simplified DFM methodology developed with MS Excel. Gap analysis. FMEA. Design and process on the pattern of quality function deployment, what's and hows. Welcome manufacturing engineers with passion for design and design engineers with passion for manufacturing. For skill development of experienced engineers, faculties from industries, institutions from any domain who can blend both bricks and clicks. Taoist Design for Manufacturability. Origin of DFM. The conventional design approach was to include manual assembly so that manufacturing engineers could make justifications for automation proposals. The two basic principles of this methodology were to reduce the number of assembly operations by reducing the number of parts, make the assembly operations easier to perform. These principles stood in stark contrast to the dominant reducibility guidelines of the time. Reducibility guidelines directed designers to focus on simplifying individual parts so that they could be easier to manufacture at less cost. Dr. Boothroyd's groundbreaking research exposed the fact that this practice actually led to substantially higher product costs relative to the use of fewer, multifunctional parts. Upon publication of this research, commercial implementation became a topic of great interest. In 1980, Dr. Peter Dewhurst joined with Dr. Boothroyd to create the software package designed for automatic and manual assembly, DFA, for the Apple II Plus. Subsequent interest from IBM and digital equipment led to the funding of a PC version, as well as the incorporation of Boothroyd Dewhurst Inc. in 1983. Major companies such as Ford and General Motors estimated that they were saving billions of dollars through DFA. As interest in DFA software expanded, so did interest in achieving precise knowledge of the cost savings associated with it. In 1985, Dr. Boothroyd and Mr. Dewhurst conducted further research that allowed for a Design for Manufacture (DFM) module to be added. DFM allowed early and accurate should-cost estimates to be made of various design proposals. Together, the two modules combined to form what is now known as DFMA. The enormous benefits that DFMA provided to leading manufacturers led President George H.W. Bush to award the founders of BDI the National Medal of Technology in 1991. Thanks to the support from George H.W. Bush was put into practice in US DRDO, which resulted in converting a large number of design spending for manufacture were converted as workable engineering products and equipments in US defense and then in other engineering establishments in USA. They have proved that better designed products need no automation to increase productivity. Design for Manufacturability and Concurrent Engineering by Dr. David M. Anderson of 2004. After a short-term training on Dr. Anderson, being an electrical engineer cum professor, was able to implement DFM with his earlier employer Intel to bring fantastic productivity in-house with his own tool room supports. Then Dr. Anderson started sharing outside also and shared with the world through his master book titled as Design for Manufacturability and Concurrent Engineering during 2004. Design for manufacturability is the process of proactively designing products to a. Optimize all the manufacturing functions, fabrication, assembly, test, procurement, shipping, service and repair. B. Assure the best cost, quality, reliability, regulatory compliance, safety, time to market and customer satisfaction. C. Ensure that lack of manufacturability doesn't compromise functionality, styling, new product introductions, product delivery, improvement programs, strategic initiatives and unexpected surge in product demand, as per of Dr. David M. Anderson, our mentor for DFM. Concurrent engineering is the process of designing products in multifunctional teams with all specialities working together from all the stages. Dr. Anderson has certified TISAUTHOR as India's DFM expert during 2011. He sent a copy of his 2011 edition duly signed by him for my study on his DFM, a rare honor of introduction for this author in India. Through this popular DFM book and direct interactions with the undersigned in an attempt to co-working to bring a DFM movement during 2011, this author came out of his maiden book titled as Taoist Directions for Design and Development by synergizing his own thoughts on Taoism with DFM during 2014. Taoism is presented by Dr. Fritjof Capra in his The Tao of Physics 1975. This author has been fascinated to the out-of-box thinking of finding parallels between modern physics and Eastern mysticism of Taoism across the widely sold book by Dr. Fritjof Capra titled as The Tao of Physics. Like Dr. Fritjof Capra, author Mr. K.S. Ramalingam finds in an out-of-box thinking found parallels between design and manufacturability and Eastern mysticism of Taoism as displayed through Yang and Yin. Yang and Yin. What it means. Yang and Yin are two opposing energies in the world that wax and wane, and they represent the relative nature of all earthly things. In Yin, black design represents the energy of Yin, characterized by qualities of dark female, night, cold, pull and so on. In Yang, white design represents the energy of Yang, characterized by the qualities of white, male, day, hot, push and so on. Within Te, Yin, lies the seed of Yang, as represented by the white dot. Within Te, Yang, lies the seed of Yin as represented by the black dot. Within the Yin manufacturability, lies the seed of Yang design as represented by the white dot. Within the Yang design, lies the seed of Yin manufacturability as represented by the black dot. At the interface between Yin and Yang, manufacturability and design, lies the creative potential of getting products with reliable design and rapidly developed with responsive DFM. Taoism and Dr. Fritjof Capra. The Taoists saw all changes in nature as manifestations of the dynamic interplay between polar opposites Yin and Yang, and thus they come to believe that any pair of opposites constitutes a polar relationship where each of the two poles is dynamically linked to each other. Logo of TDFM. The 8 sides under the logo represent the 8 criterions under TDFM. The 8 colors denote the 7 colors of Vibgyo and the single white color, the synthesis of all 7 color, say function, style under RTDFM. This author Mr. K.S. Ramalingam saw all changes in engineering products as manifestations of the dynamic interplay between polar opposites design and manufacturability, and the author came to believe that any pair of opposites come to believe constitutes a polar relationship where each of the two poles is dynamically linked to each other. You can find in the author's first DFM handbook the comments offered by Dr. Anderson as follows: more than thousands of rules, guidelines. That should be good for your book and your practice. These rules, guidelines form the core of MFD, manufacturability function deployment by this author himself. Valuable inputs by Dr. Sanjay Ramaswamy from Arizona University on the implications under DFM software. After a comparative study of various DFM methodologies built on software, the insufficient scientific base under the software and enormous data are bound to be complied within the computer or software. DFMA methods have little effect at the conceptual stage where most of the costs are fixed. Insufficiency due to the inability of to provide redesign suggestions to modify shapes or dimensions in the case of alternate designs. This is the starting point for my Tau of DFM. Definition of Tau of DFM TDFM. 64 spokes join in one hub. Tau of DFM outcome is manufacturable products or manufacturability the yin. The hardware is all visible to the naked eyes. Inputs are only reliable designs the yang. Mostly invisible to the layman's eyes. It is the invisible or design, DFM, which creates the function of the manufactured products which are visible. All designs are invisible, only everything is now open to the world through Tau of DFM TDFM. Under Taoist DFM, the author recommend close dancing with cheek to cheek between design, the yang and manufacturability, the yin through all 8 criterions like best cost, best quality, best reliability, best compliance to regulation sustainability, best safety, best time to market, best function style and best satisfaction to customers. In all cost centers, under the 8 systems like procurement, manufacture, assembly, testing, packing, shipping, delivery, service, maintenance and repair. Differences between conventional DFM and Taoist DFM. Under Taoist DFM, design for manufacturability is moved from a design function to a regulatory function to overcome some of the constraints of conventional DFM and facilitating of a few improvements in DFM analytics. Overcoming the resistance of the design team itself by awarding a different role, taking up the role of a champion, not as fully responsible for design without affecting the ego of design team. 2. The merger of process team with design team itself removed the gap between design and process, and the reinforced design team itself is given the total responsibility for design and process, and the process is in full alignment with design or vice versa, a 50% score in manufacturability indeed. 3. All cost centers are in seamless connections to get the relevant costing done with reference to all processes and quality aspects. Since the group captain from QMS quality is assigned the leadership role, the management is assured of total supports from QMS, design and manufacturing for all the business processes. Under TDM methodology, clients have the option to validate DFM compliances under each and every criterion or system or as a cumulative system also. Clients have the liberty to do redesign at any stage or part or sub-assembly also. As the MR is the group captain under TDFM, the whole team is committed and it becomes a joint responsibility of captains from quality and manufacturing and design, as they are also jointly committed. Under engineering products and equipment, most of the new products are either in re-engineered design or a reverse engineered design out the older approved one. The role of the concurrent engineering team under TDFM is one of comparative rating of the current new 1WRT something existing under the 8 criterions like design, reliability, compliance to regulations, sustainability, safety, time to market, function style and satisfaction to customer, which will be foolproof under its manufacturability function deployment through a quality function deployment QFD type analysis. The Yang and Yin and Taoist DFM. A separate presentation is available on CET with Yang and Yin prologue to Taoist DFM. Quality Function Deployment QFD. As described by Dr. Yoji Akao, who originally developed QFD in Japan in 1966. QFD is a method to transform qualitative user demands into quantitative parameters, to deploy the functions forming quality, and to deploy methods for achieving the design quality into subsystems and component parts, and ultimately to specific elements of the manufacturing process. The author combined his work in quality assurance and quality control points with function deployment used in value engineering. Manufacturability function deployment is a method to transform DFM recommendations of concurrent engineering team with a blend of yang and yin into qualitative parameters. To deploy the manufacturability functions into design of subsystems and component parts, and ultimately to specific elements of the process of manufacturing as per Tao of DFM. PPT on MFD for design. Please visit the above PPT also. Developing the perfect operation process sheet cum quality plan. Merging process planning division with the design division is mandatory under Tao of DFM. It ensures to avoid bugs in design on the synchronization. While evolving the process cum quality plan, the process engineering team has to adopt the various rules and guidelines as per TDFM for all the processes in each cost center, which is again cross-checked by the CET for all the processes either system-wise or criterion-wise. While doing the review and DFM compliance, CET, concurrent engineering team, will move under the proposed MFD, manufacturability function deployment. Concurrent engineering team, CET, will be able to get a improved QCD score in their mission of adhering to rules and guidelines of TDFM. While the ratings under rules will be from 0, 1, 3, or 5 depending upon the infrastructure, the guidelines under them will be 0, 1, 3, 4, 5 or not applicable. While doing the review and DFM compliance, CET will move under the proposed MFD, manufacturability function deployment. Developing the perfect operation process sheet cum quality plan. A car can be manufactured to serve as a car to a budgeted price of 2 lakhs or to 5 crore rupees. For a fixed price and delivery, the design and manufacturability are the variables subject to the performance targeted, committed as norms under of quality performance standards with due specifications to be mutually acceptable to the manufacturer and the end customer. QMS head is the group captain under Tao of DFM with additional captains from design and manufacturing. While any unit can have their own process of design developed in-house or adopted from elsewhere, MFD can be the guide to check for compatibility to TDFM as stipulated in 8x8 equals 64 modules. Vide this author's first DFM handbook titled as Taoist Directions for Design and Development. Please visit Tao of DFM Taoist Direction for Design and Development. World's most simplified DFM methodology. You can buy the e-book by contacting the author and the mail address as given in the last slide. Factories can be visited by this author or his team by prior appointment. Lectures in the college or development centers also accepted on request. People interested in getting the practice tools, guides can contact through email after paying the required fees. Taoist of DFM. This author is glad to share with you all that he shared with the GCTians. The practice tools for implementing Taoist DFM were conceived and developed here in GCT after his brief paid presentations on DFM for manufacture of gears to the then small group of students undergoing a special subject on gears. The author thanks the then head and faculties under mechanical engineering who facilitated this. Taoist design for manufacturability. It was really inspiring for this author to deliver his third external presentations on TDFM here in GCT workshop, where he was doubly thrilled to see their old cupola physically erected. The project during 1968 had been erection of cupola as per the directions of great Principal Professor R. Ramaswamy to the then VRGCT group during 1965-68. The author has developed the world's simplest methodology for implementing his Taoist DFM under manufacturability function deployment (MFD). It is by taking every operation cost center under the process of manufacturing or actual general business operation as the basic element for a DFM analysis. To apply the scientifically bifurcated 8 criterions for each and every system under manufacturability and applying various rules and guidelines as per TDFM, you can find that the first 10 commandments under TDFM only come under the rules under the Part A of first level of TDFM, and the next part are the 12 enhancements ideally listed under the Part B of first level of TDFM. Evaluations are done for the 8 criterions as well as 8 systems for each and every operation in sequence. Nothing is left out while ANAYSING for TDFM compatibility test. It is a complete paradigm shift from cumbersome questions found in conventional DFM methodologies where we see everything got mixed up and many things left out by that confusions. It is not like DFM software where everything is concealed and nothing is transparent to enable corrections. He made the attempt to come out with the golden blend and introduce some speed also by going for MS Excel as of date. Continuous UPGRADATION as the basic policy to provide better Q at lower C with faster delivery. Just to remind all design professionals that Taoist DFM is there to take care of the non-functional aspects of the design which is not covered by basic design skills, CAD and other supporting systems for product design which play major roles, more than 60% when we enter into actual manufacture and do business with that. Analytical chart. The author has listed more than 800 rules, guidelines under the revised list for use by clients covering all criteria and systems under this first home of MFD. The balance of empty cells numbering about 1200 can be used when going for third level of TDFM. The house under this MFD are the operations for processes being planned under the manufacturing processes, making the deployment of manufacturability duly embedded seamlessly under MFD through a systematic deployment of gap analysis. For implementations in all cost centers for all rules, guidelines under TDFM, the WATS, which will provide the comprehensive scoring under TDFM for each operation criteria-wise and operation-wise. Please note that this author has provided for 20 operations or house as a standard. For designs requiring more than 20 operations, users can add more groups of 20 operations for practice. This will have to be carried out for each criterion represented subsequently. Under each criterion, we must post the cumulative scores obtained in all 8 groups and arrive at the cumulative scores. Absolute importance per each criteria as the inputs for the evaluations under TDFM under each criteria as final outputs. The next from author is Taoist Solutions for Design and Development. Ideal synergizing between Yang and Yin. Yin is the heroine called manufacturability under our Tao of DFM. Yang is the hero called design under our TDFM. TDFM calls for closer synergy, dance between yin and yang, not merely with arms to arms but cheek to cheek for delivering reliable designs with rapid developments through responsive TDFM. The author has formed a concurrent engineering team comprising of experts from various domains to take up TDFM projects as well as assignments at sites or from headquarters in Besant Nagar, Chennai 90, India. Those who are interested to know more on TDFM can contact the author whose contacts are listed in the last slide and purchase specific e-books on individual subjects discussed earlier and are listed in the following slide also. E-books on TDFM by the above author for sale on payments through Google Pay. 1. Taoist Directions for Design and Development. TDDD. 2. The CET for TDFM. 3. 10 Steps to Conquer TDFM. 4. Manufacturability Function Deployment, MFD. 5. Taoist Solutions for Design and Development, TSDD. The author solicits specific inquiries from individuals and organizations. A. Ramalingam KS. DFM and Innovation Consultant. Engineers in Ventures. C26 Bayview Apartments. 18 Parvati Street. Kalakshetra Colony, Besant Nagar. Chennai 90. Mobile +91 97899 65421. Emails eramalingam.ks@gmail.com. AXA2712@dfmhandbook.com.